If you have vented with a coworker, colleague, friend, your direct report, without asking permission, you're probably in deep doo-doo. The mindset of venting, which most people would consider basically just dumping on somebody all your problems in the world, it's okay to vent, but you really need to ask permission. If you're calling somebody up, you're going to their cubicle, whatever, if you really have an issue that you just have to get off your chest, ask permission. Now, I know this. I was in 30 years of therapy. I absolutely loved my therapist. She disappeared, but that's okay because I've learned a lot from her. The whole issue of these kind of processes, as in how to vent properly, comes under the heading of fair fighting rules. I'm only going to talk about venting and then the aspect of gunny sacking. What a weird term, because that also comes out of venting. It's okay to vent, but you really want to pay attention to asking someone first, can I get some things off my chest? It has nothing to do with you. It's just I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need some help, something like that. Because this is what happened to me a couple of weeks ago when I was simply trying to get people to help me with volunteering at our damn garden, our community garden. And I reached out to one of my friends because she kept telling me when she couldn't water, and it was getting too much because I'm building a business and I have this crazy client across the street. When I called her up, I didn't know I was venting, but she let me have it on Saturday and definitely told me that I was venting. And then she gunny sacked me. Gunny sack means you save up all these emotions, and when you're talking to someone, whether it be your coworker, direct report, a loved one, could be your child, you put all these things in a sack, figuratively speaking, and then just dump it on them. Don't do that. So these are two important rules of fair fighting. Now, fighting is quite common, unfortunately, in every society. But there's rules and there's fairness to it. Because at the end of the day, don't you want to express your feelings, have someone listen, and at the end come to common ground? I will warrant that I have at least 50% accountability in this misunderstanding between my friend just over watering schedule at the garden. When she got angry at me, I did call her on the carpet and say, "Are you really using anger toward me about watering the garden?" And then the fireworks went off. Was not pretty, however, like fireworks. So check out the fair fighting rules. If you've never learned about them or you don't know them, another person I have studied with is Mary Morrissey, and I put a link on one of her free masterclasses because she talks about fair fighting. She talks about so many ways to address a lot of blockages in our mindset, and anger is one of them. Venting is another one. If you don't see the results in your life that you feel you deserve and that you would love, listen to her masterclass. Mary Morrissey, I've been studying with her for 3 years at least, officially, and then I knew about her two years before I got into that. So check out that masterclass too. And there's always something about Kundalini yoga. Fist of Anger is this Kriya that I have in my podcast details this week. It's a 3-minute workout, and it's just breathing. Now, I know some people may not want to chant. I understand that. So you know what? Just listen to Har Prakash. She's one of my favorite teachers. I studied with her in New York for several years, and she used to do virtual classes during the pandemic. She was amazing, but I can still follow her because she uploads every now and then to YouTube. The issue with anger and not knowing how to control it is just going to give you cancer of the heart. You really, really want to learn other emotions other than anger, because anger resolves nothing, and it imprisons you in all these negative minds. When I was married to the Frenchman, he would say, "Bibi, you're making a movie in your mind." So learn how to control your anger. Lastly, with wine, there was one of my favorite industry newsletters that's non-geeky, and I always tell people to check into it, and I always have a link, but not this time. They were discussing how South Africans are undiscovered. Well, not really, but they're not marketed properly. But I can promise you, to the listening audience, you have been drinking South African wines for many, many years. The brand called Excelsior. It is produced by this amazing family called Robertson. They have a huge, huge, huge vineyard estate. What I love about the Robertson family, which they produce Excelsior, but they produce many, many other wines besides Excelsior. They have a whole school there for their workers. They have opportunities for them to buy property on their land and build a house, and they help them with this. They help them have their own garden. They help their workers become self-sufficient. So Robertson is one of the best vineyards out there, and promise me you have been drinking Excelsior for years probably. And it's really one of the best absolute values. Even I would drink it, and I am a wine snob because most of you know I prefer French wine. To wrap this up, venting is natural. However, put the brakes on it before you vent to a coworker, a friend, your direct report. Ask them permission first. And it's simply going to sound like, listen, do you mind if I get something off my chest? It might be a 10-minute sweaty conversation, but I believe I can resolve it. I have an issue, but I have a solution. Best way to talk to your boss. And if it's a friend, just say, something is really bothering me. Could we have 5 or 10 minutes conversation and let me get some things off my chest? Really simple. Just don't vent. Don't gunny sack. Don't put a whole bunch of stuff in this imaginary sack and then dump it on them. Check out the fair fighting rules. We need these. Check out the link to Fist of Anger. It's a 3-minute Kriya. Change your life. Lastly, South African wines, they are not unknown. You've probably been drinking Excelsior for a gazillion years. And South Africa really has a lot of French people buying up the property and making really good wines there. I'm Valerie Hill. I create this podcast once a month to really help people change their mindset. I've done it to myself, got through the pandemic. I also teach public speaking courses. I help people overcome their fear and anxiety so they can get a promotion. They can go and talk to that loan officer. Hope you're not taking out any loans with 7%. You can get an advancement in your career. Learn how to do your elevator pitch. It's just really, you can take 1 class or you can take 6 classes. You can take 3 classes from me. The link is everywhere in the world on all the social medias. Okay? Merci et au revoir.